It is Sesame Street Day here at the ballpark.
The umpire yells,
Play ball!
and I step up to the plate.
Elly Cruz hitless on the series. He's 0 for 8, 6 strikeouts.
Hi everyone, it's Lindsay, and we're going to talk about a principle called starting from scratch. De La Cruz is at the plate in the first inning of this game.
Florida State to go pro. Late time was granted.
I'm going to need your help to answer this case play. The pitcher starts motion to come home. The batter steps out of the box during that motion. As a result, the pitcher steps off the mound without throwing the baseball, and the pitch clock expires. So what is the call?
And here comes David Bell to ask.
Yeah, David wants to know what the heck's going on here.
Because Elly stepped out, but I never saw a signal from
no
Phil
time.
Cuzzy.
We have several possible outcomes. Is this a balk, auto ball, auto strike, nothing? What's the call exactly?
But David Bell is asking if time's never granted.
Then it's a ball.
Take me out to the ball game.
We start with number 1, balk, and we notice the rule requires there be runner or runners on base. So with no runners, we can't call a balk. It's like a serendipitous coconut. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there was never time granted, and that should be a ball. If you're DL Hall, you've got to cut that ball loose to the plate regardless of if Elly steps out or not. Elly was never granted time.
Okay, let's look at automatic ball due to illegal pitch and clock violation.
The Reds ultimately catch a huge break here because this has got to be ruled a ball.
Dan Bellino, second base umpire, top of the screen, is the crew chief.
If after the pitcher starts their windup or comes to set position with a runner on, they do not go through with their pitch because the batter has inadvertently caused the pitcher to interrupt their delivery, it shall not be called a balk. Both the pitcher and batter have violated a rule, and the umpire shall call time. Both the batter and pitcher start over from scratch.
Late time was granted.
It did not appear that time was granted at all.
However, as we said for the balk part of the analysis, there were no runners. So on its face, it doesn't look like this rule is directly applicable either. Let's keep searching.
And now here comes Pat Murphy.
Because I think he can smell what's happening here.
The parent rule states the batter shall not leave position in the batter's box after the pitcher comes to set or starts windup. If the pitcher pitches, the umpire calls ball or strike. But what happens if the pitcher doesn't pitch? That's where that comment about there being a runner on base in box comes from.
And Murphy is even hotter than Bell.
Now Dan Bellino, the crew chief, is going to go send Pat Murphy back.
It's a big decision. I mean, this would be ball 4.
And scissors cuts paper. Kiff, we have a conundrum.
Because the rulebook clearly states it is a violation for the batter to leave the box mid-windup, penalty it's ball or strike if the pitcher throws. But if the pitcher doesn't throw, we have the comment about how it's a start over from scratch situation, which only applies to a runner on base and box. Why does it only apply to a runner on base and box? Answer, because it is not illegal with no runners on base for the pitcher to just stop mid-delivery without throwing. That is totally allowed. The only complication here is the pitch clock.
Well, how about De La Cruz stepping out? I mean, he has to be ready to go at 8 seconds. If he steps out, then
Could be a
he's
pitch,
not ready.
could be a violation on his part.
It
too.
could go.
The problem is that you go to the rulebook and you realize there's no clock, there's no timer anywhere in the rulebook. I've never been clocked by the official baseball rules, thankfully.
I mean, you've got to rule a ball here. The pitcher didn't throw the ball. Regardless of what Elly did at the plate, he could stand on his head.
No, you have to stay in the box until the job's done. That's literally in the rulebook. If he goes out, it's a violation on him, but because then he causes the pitcher to violate, it's a start over from scratch situation, except there are no runners on because the rulebook was written before the pitch clock. Not rules, but policies or regulations got added.
It looks like that's not coming because David Bell is not happy. And there's been no further communication to Pat Murphy, and it's a full count to Elly Cruz.
It's very annoying, and it leads us all to the same place. The elastic clause for the umpires in Rule 8.
David Bell's argument is that it's either got to be pitch clock violation and a ball 4, or
Well,
you
again,
give
how
De La
about-
Cruz a timeout.
Well, how about De La Cruz stepping out? I mean, he has to be ready to go.
To conclude, this is a do-over, no penalty. It is a start from scratch situation. Even though the rulebook does not specifically address the case of no runners on pitch clock issue for this provision. Maybe we get a rules change, maybe we don't, because the rulebook doesn't clock at all, which is fine. But I think common sense and fair play says this is a start over from scratch situation, and there is no harm, no foul.
De La Cruz stepped out. I don't know if he gave him a time.
Yeah, Pat, maybe those smelling salts aren't a bad idea right now. Very confusing play. If you like this analysis, like and subscribe. Thanks for the question. Visit us online at closecallsports.com. We have Discord, we have Patreon, we have all the ways you can support us. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the site.
What I want to do is count the swings and the strikes. Strike 4, strike 5, strike 6.
Maybe kimchi was the winner all along. Don't let it explode.